that broadcast means broadcast. And then make sure that we have sound once it catches up.
And that we're ready to mute.
Ready to mute myself. Oh.
Yes.
Is yours working? Because mine says an error occurred. Please try again.
No. Yes, mine is working. Can y'all see us in the chat?
Can everyone in the chat see us but me?
You are the error.
It's literally nothing. I don't know what happened. Why I don't exist.
Oh, it looks like everyone can see both of us.
Well, hello world. I cannot see or hear me because my computer doesn't exist, but oh, it says I don't have internet. Like
at all.
At all. I have no internet. And yet
we're live.
And yet here we are.
Well, this will be fun.
Technology is wonderful.
We can tell Phoebe not to feel bad about yesterday.
Yes. I don't understand how this is happening, right? Like, it's literally doing like a diagnostic search to find my internet right now.
That's crazy.
And I'm talking to you.
I know.
Like, obviously it exists. My internet right now. Ooh, there I was. There I were. Okay.
Yay.
Oh, hello everyone. How is everyone doing today?
Yeah, how's camp going for y'all?
How is camp for everyone now that my computer has decided to operate properly?
Ooh, I like your mug.
It's Hufflepuffy.
It's cute.
I've got a Hufflepuff and I've got a Hogwarts house crest. I need a Slytherin so that I can be together in my world.
Your full Slitherpuff?
My full Slitherpuff life.
Oh, people should also tell us what Hogwarts house they're in, because now I'm just curious.
Now you must tell us what Hogwarts house you're in.
Yeah. Let's see. I see. Oh, Mikoto says, camp done, story sad. You know what? That's how I feel too. I've been neglecting my story.
The whole week.
Yeah. Oh, Leah's a Slytherin.
Slither claws. There's a lot of writers that are Slytherins. It is super weird.
Wow, and a lot in this chat too.
Yep. Slither pups, my homies. I like the world's weirdest question, but those of you who are Slither puffs, what is your zodiac sign? If you know it. Just curious. We kind of got into this discussion about how like Slitherpuff is like the two farthest away houses, like the most evil and the most benevolent, and how like you kind of have to have a split personality to
like everyone's a Gemini or something.
Right, because I am a Gemini. So Pisces and Taurus. Okay, so my theory does not stand, but I was curious. Yeah. It's they're very far away from one another. And it's very strange that you would be those two things. That anybody would be those two things. So today we're supposed to be chatting about how to push through to the end of Camp Nano whatever Rimo we're doing. That's what it is. April, because that's the month we're in. And normally we just do these as like a chat video, but Kate and I have been on live streams together like 16 times this month. So we don't feel like we have, the world's most vast amount of information to talk about. So we will probably do some sprints, but we're mostly going to talk about just devices and things that you can use in order to help push yourself through these last few days. So if anybody has any questions, please ask them so that we may answer them for you.
Yeah. Well, and I know one of them, and I see Laura writes in the chat, hey, Laura, one of them, like my biggest tip, especially at the end, is that we were kind of talking like, I haven't written anything outside of live write-ins since the write-a-thon. Like, that's what's pushing me through to finish, is just forcing myself to be with other writers who are being productive. So then I feel like I need to be productive. So
Definitely. Definitely feeling all of that. Like, I need other people to force me to be productive, because since that 12-hour write-in, it's been like nothing.
yeah.
Write-a-thon. It was not a 12-hour write-in. That would be excessive. Write-a-thon.
Well, and that's the other advice, like not even advice, but like the other thing is that for write-a-thons, I don't know if then I should save the write-a-thon for like the last part of camp, like closer to the end, or to do it early on, like I did in NaNoWriMo this past year.
I mean, typically most people do one like at the beginning and then towards the end and some in the middle. So like I try to plan mine kind of weird so that it doesn't fall on like the days that everyone else is doing them. But I haven't heard of anybody that's doing one on like the last day.
Yeah.
I don't know of anyone at this moment in time that's planning on doing one on the 30th.
Yeah. Well, this April. This is my last day to write since I'm going on vacation.
Oh, you're leaving.
Yeah. But I do always feel like at the end I always need that extra boost. So that might be something like for us to look into, for other people to look into. I also feel like it's hard now to find write-ins not at the same day as other people are doing them now, because so many people are doing them, which is awesome. Like,
yeah.
everyone makes the write-ins, but
Well, and I think we discussed the I think for NaNoWriMo, actual NaNoWriMo this year, I'm going to try to only write during live sprints and see how many words I can get.
that's
See if I
right.
can get to the 50K with it.
Yeah.
So I hope there's all of the write-ins, because otherwise I'm not going to make it. Laura says that her and Kaplandia are having one on the 30th on her channel at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So now we know which one we need to go to on the 30th. You will be in a hotel room in Disney, but whatever.
Yes.
You're not cool. I will be on the internet doing live write-ins because I need to finish this dang story. I'll probably be done by then, though, because I only have 2 hours left.
I know. I'm so excited. Because I'm really curious how, when you do the website, if anyone else has done ours also, do you have like a prompt to validate or not? Because that's what I'm curious about.
They're going to have to ask my Alexa if I have been working or not, because you know she spies on you.
She knows everything.
She knows everything. Every time I say her name, she lights up, and then she waits for a command, and I don't have one to give her, and then she gets angry and turns off. Oh, I'm trying to keep up with comments, but they're moving so quickly.
I see. So Laura's having one. Did you already say this? Laura's having one on the last day.
Yep, that's what it said.
Okay. Oh, man.
And someone says they wish there was a master write-in list somewhere. I tried to make one at the beginning of the month, but I had very little information at that time. I don't follow all of the people, so I can only do the ones that I know of. But I did in the beginning, on like my very first Nano announcement video, listed all of the ones that I knew of, like people that I know that do one weekly on specific days of the week, any that I knew of that were happening that people had already scheduled and were announcing. So I tried to do that at the beginning of the month, but I can't follow everyone and know what everyone is doing. I think that would be excessive. There's a lot of AuthorTubers out there, so it would be really hard to do.
Yeah, there are a lot more now too. And also, I mean, I feel like a lot of people, myself included, kind of just decide to do them like at the last minute. Like our one yesterday was like a day in advance. We're like, hey, do you want to do another one? And we're like, sure. So it's not like people could really plan too much for it.
Yeah.
Oh, I do see Laura Nettles says that the validation is just a click and then you win if yours is ours. So that answers that.
Oh. Well, look at me. I guess you have to like just not lie. So that seems very unfair. Evie says, I have a writing issue. I watch writing blogs and everyone is so loving towards their characters and plot and excited enough to keep going. I don't have a favorite genre. I don't love my characters. I don't get excited by plots. I feel like if you're not in love with your characters and you're not excited by plots, then you are not writing the right thing.
Yeah, same.
I think you need to either make your characters more lovable to you or find new characters or find a plot that is more exciting to you, because as hard as writing is, like as much of it is really like a labor of love. It's really, you write it because you enjoy it and because you want to get the story out. Most people, except writing for the right reasons anyway. So if it's not working for you, then your readers will know that it's not working for you and it's not going to work for them either. So you're better off to find something new to write about.
Yeah, well, and also, like, what are your favorite books? What kind of books make you excited about the plot and the characters? And see if there's like a common denominator amongst those, and then try and write a book like that. Try and write something that excites you as much as the books you read. Or even movies you watch, like stories are stories, so.
I lost where I was at again. Oh, there it is.
Oh, I do see that Mikoto says that writing fan fiction was a good start for me. And I think both of us started by writing fan fiction. I know you did poetry, but also just like
story
the love
writing was fan fiction, yeah.
Yeah.
Do people do write-ins outside of Nano on YouTube? Absolutely. Kate and Becca do one once a month usually. I do one once a month usually. Mandy Lynn, Natalia Lee, and By the Brook, they do one monthly usually. I can't even remember what they call that. AuthorTube write-in.
Yeah.
They usually do one monthly. Ben Sanders usually does one monthly. Laura writes. I know they do some occasionally, but I don't know if they do them.
Yeah, I think that they said that they're going to try and continue to do like Monday ones on Kevlandia's channel, maybe?
I could be lying, but Laura's here. She can tell us.
Yeah.
So, but yes, there are people who do them throughout the year. And those are just the ones that I know of. I don't know everybody again. So there are some that I follow. Tamara Woods, she usually does, I think, weekly.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another person that I have on my channel that does them that I don't watch them.
I know Sarah she does them pretty often with like a whole host of people. So.
Yeah, I will try when we are done today to go through and like do a list of people that I know that do write-ins, and I will leave them in the description box so you guys can check them out later for when it's not a Nano month and you want to find somebody that does live write-ins. Yeah. Started writing poetry on Twitter, still do. Diane, if you have watched my poetry video, you know that I had some really atrocious poetry in high school, and the poetry that I tried to write the other day was not any better. But I have seen some recent published poetry collections that I literally, like, people love them. I literally describe them as someone's late night drunken unedited tweets. So I mean, maybe I just don't understand poetry anymore, but that's what your comment reminded me of my horrible review of poetry collections. And Laura says that her and Kev are going to go back and forth between their channels after camp, so they will be doing them as well.
Yay.
And Steven said, Sarah, I can't say it either. Sharn Weber does Friday at 8 p.m. EST. People who have dedicated dates and times are my hero, because mine's just like, all right, I need to do the write-in for this month. What day and time works for me? Oh, Tuesday at 6 p.m. Let's do it.
Same.
I'm horrible, but it's okay. Whew. I think that was it. I think I'm caught up now. It moved so quickly there for a minute that I was like trying to make sure that I didn't miss anybody's question. And you asked Evie what her favorite types of books are, and she says books she's not smart enough to write. Never Ending Story is her favorite. What I will say is this. From my own personal point of view, I started writing the story that I'm working on right now about 12 years ago, and I liked it, but I didn't love it, and I knew that I didn't have the skills or the tools to complete it the way that it needed to be completed. So in a way, I felt like I wasn't smart enough to write it. So what I recommend is, in the meantime, studying writing craft and doing things that help you learn how to make the story into what you need it to be. And then one day you can come back to it and it will be the right time for you. So, yes, 12 years, but it's been an on and off 12 years. Like, I started it 12 years ago, but I haven't worked on it for probably over 6. So, it's been a minute. Because again, did not have the tools or the skills to complete it properly.
Yeah, I've definitely put stories on hiatus until I feel like I have the skills where I'm capable to write it. But in the meantime, I work on other stories. So, and I feel like working on those stories is what's giving me the confidence and like the skill set to then transfer that to these other ones. So,
well, I'm old. Mikado says if I've been writing for 12 years and I've started at 8, I'm 30. I'll be 32 in June, so I was 20 at the time. So, you know. Further questions. Looking for an up-to-date Google Doc of all author tubers who do live write-ins and what times they do them. You know, a massive Google Doc of that would not be a terrible idea. It might be something that we could do, like to start one and make it editable, and just share it and let people add themselves to it. So that may be a possibility for the future.
you know, I don't know that there's a massive Google Doc with all the author tubers, because I know there's that Facebook, but I know I'm not part of the Facebook. I know that there's on the AuthorTube subreddit, it's not like it's really active, but someone on there routinely updates this site with a list of author tubers, you know. I wish there was one place where we all like knew each other and could be, but it's kind of, I feel like it's hard to do that, hard to gather all that.
Gather all the information. Yes, Christopher, a Google Sheet. That is what I meant. Not a doc, but a sheet. You are correct. Because that would make way more sense.
And I like his point about with tabs for time zones.
Time zones obviously have been screwing us over lately.
Yes, yeah. Within our cabin.
It's like, it's not even time zone so much as like daylight savings time plus the time zone plus the everything else. So it's interesting. Laura, a Google Sheet is basically the same as a Google Doc, but it's like a what's the word I'm looking for? An Excel spreadsheet. Yeah. It's like a spreadsheet, but it's Google internet based versus Word computer based. There are a lot of pagans rolling up in this comment section right now. I want you to know that. Just FYI. Daylight savings time is the devil. Yeah, it's we were discussing yesterday that they are looking at trying to get rid of it, but each individual time zone has to like individually pass it. Like each different territory has to pass that they want to change it and get rid of it, and then they all have to agree to it, and then it's like a massive thing. So yeah, that's the problem with when your country is so ginormous, is that it's so hard to get so many people to agree with things because there's so many people. But there could be worse things. Oh. How did everyone determine their writing goals for Nano? My goal was originally to write every day, so I figured I'd do an hour a day every day. That hasn't happened, FYI. I set my goal for 30 hours, but not so much.
Yeah, you know, though, I feel like this is kind of true for writing, for like when you're making it the word count goal also, is that some days it's just flowing and it's great. So like some days you can spend 2-3 hours and feel super productive, then other days you struggle for that entire hour you're working. So
Definitely have those days where like you just stare at the screen forever and do nothing.
yes. I decided on my goal because I knew that I couldn't do last camp, last year's camp, April 2018, I tried to do 50,000 just like I do during November. And I thought that I could do it because I can do November Nano and win regularly, kind of. Like I think I'm at a 60% ratio. And then I've learned since then that for camps, I just have to half my goal. So that's how I came up with my 25K.
Laura said that she chose her goal because she failed at regular Nano and wanted to try again, but she doesn't think she's going to make it. Story of my life.
Oh, I think minutes is such a cool way of doing it. Wait, did you do yours by hours or minutes? Like, how did you do the chunks?
Hours.
Okay, you did.
Yeah. I didn't feel like I would be able to handle minutes. It's too hard to track.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
And I have cheated. I've cheated the system in a way because, like, if I do like a 2.5 hour write-in, I count that as 2 hours because typically, like, if I'm not the one that's staring at the screen, if I'm like just doing other people and listening to them talk, I'm still working while I'm listening to them, even though like maybe we only wrote for an hour and a half, but I counted as 2 hours because I was still writing during like the talking conversation part of it.
Yeah, your mind was still on your story.
I was still working while I was listening.
Yes.
I think a lot of people have changed their goals this year. It's not a bad option, but I'm trying to. I mean, obviously, I've only got 2 hours left, and if I don't get 2 hours in 4 days, then I should just quit. But yeah, it's definitely makes me want to change my goal sometimes at the beginning. I'm like, no, why would you do that to yourself? It's a terrible idea. Okay, I think we've answered everyone's questions for the most part. So,
you want to attempt?
Would you guys like to attempt some writing while we're here? Or would you like us to go into ways to help push yourself through? What do you guys want to do? as we wait for the lag to.
I know, that's what I'm still reading all the comments. I feel like they're really active today.
They are. I haven't even been in the actual video, so I have like no idea how many people we have watching, so I have no clue.
It says 44 on my screen.
44. That means there's 42 people hanging out.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
I see people are up for the sprints.
I like sprints.
All right. The question is, how long you want to do it for? Since you're doing it in time, do you want to do like 15 or do you want to start slower?
Do a 10.
All right. Everyone good with 10? I say as I'm ready to pull up the 10.
As I've got the 10 on. Does 10 work for you? Merlin said 10 does not work for her. Out very angrily when I asked that. Probably just more because I was moving around and I woke her up.
No. Oh my gosh, in your vlog. I know I said it in the comment, but it scared me so much with all this stuff.
It was horrifying.
Oh
it was so scary. I thought I was going to die. Like, I thought the wall was collapsing.
I saw you reacted much more calmly than I would have expected. Like, I saw a jump, but then it's like you processed and were like very cool under pressure. I was like, oh no, I jumped farther and I was just watching the video.
I'm so used to it with that cat. He's a surprise attack cat, and just like everything he does is just so massive. Like everything he does is just way far beyond the realm of what any animal should do.
Oh my gosh.
He's hyper.
All right. It looks like everyone's good with 10. So, shall we start?
Let's do it.
Go. To adjust my screen. I was not prepared. Done.
Yay!
Woohoo.
I'm turning into a Smurf.
What happened?
My pen exploded.
Oh no, I didn't even notice.
I was like, why is there blue on my page? Oh, I had like a blue thumbprint on my page.
That's so funny. You with your blue thumbprint, your blue eyes, and your blue hair.
Yeah. All of the above. How did everyone do during their sprint?
Yes. How many minutes did you get?
I got 10 minutes. Yay! We're at this one camp. Yay!
Woohoo!
I am not writing longhand. I'm actually editing. So revising on paper.
So fun. Ooh, did the colors mean something different?
I'm really just using like pink for if I have to move something like from one place to another, and blue like to cross things out or to add in like an actual sentence.
Yeah.
And green is my consistency check. Like if something should have happened yet, or if they should have the knowledge that they have, or I invented some words or some phrases, and I don't think they're used enough to be considered something that would really exist. Like I only put them in like twice, and it's like they would have used them more than that. So I'm trying to like keep track of all that. So that's what my green is consistency.
Yay!
Consistency. But yeah, they mean things. Anyway, back to what everybody was doing.
I like hearing about that stuff.
Let's see, 311, 349, 123, 302, 422.
Like Steven got his characters out of the landslide. Yay!
Yeah. 150, 325. Finished the last scene of Act 2. Congratulations.
Yeah, Laura.
328, 68, 219, 97. much.
Dang, yeah. Oh, and Leah just won camp also. Yay!
Yay! Yay, winners of camp. Grapefruit, I am still somewhat following Susan Dennard's process. At this point, she did her revisions on her note cards, and the note card thing was just not working for me, so I'm doing my revisions on my printed out copy. So still following the steps, but maybe just not as exact. Whew.
I think I got like 200 something. Low 200s, so.
Well, you know, considering we were not really planning on doing sprints.
I know, this is great.
That we're doing great.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I seen another question in there and then I lost it.
I know, that's why it jumped down.
It goes so quickly.
Yeah. Are you going to make a video about Susan Dennard's process as a whole once you've like gotten closer to being done with this revision, or?
I think it's going to depend on how well I feel like it worked for me.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
You know, it's definitely different, but it also is from, I think it was like maybe 11 years ago that she posted this. So I'm sure that her process is different now than what it was then.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe it was 2011, so it was 8 years ago. That would make more sense. Anyway.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Writeathon says, I don't know about other writers, but other writers' words, but I'm super interested in learning about different authors' processes, particularly anything editing, because I do not enjoy editing. I'm with you. Like I want to know more about how other authors edit as well. And that was how I found Suze's editing process. And because I enjoy her works, I figured I would try it. See what happened.
I do feel like that's a little bit harder to find because people aren't, which is fascinating to me. I feel like people aren't often asked what their revision process is or their editing process as much as just their like first draft writing process. When really I find that like not only do I spend way more time revising than anything else, you know, I feel like that's where a lot of the real work in quotes is done. So I think that's so interesting.
Well, anybody can write a story. It doesn't have to be good. You can write a story. It's the editing process that makes it good.
Yeah.
So I don't dislike editing. I enjoy it. I just need to find what works for me. And I think that's why trying other people's ways of doing things and working things out, which, like I said, I was doing Suze's method and the note card part of it wasn't working for me. And I figured that out. So I switched it to something that I have done before that I know worked for me. So still following her process, but throwing in something of my own that helps me figure it out.
Which is so much of all writers' process, I feel like, is learning from others and then changing it a little so that it works for you. I would say, I think the revising element is where I feel like a lot of the fun is had also. It's the harder work, but, you know, it's when you're fleshing out the story, you're making the characters more real. So I think my chat jumped and I lost what I thought I was talking to.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh no.
Is a sprint always handwritten? I don't know. I handwrite when I'm doing first drafts, but I don't know about everybody else. Most people probably type. I'm the crazy person that handwrites and hand edits.
Yeah, I do edit by hand once I've like printed something out. I thought I could get it in frame. But as for writing, my handwriting is truly like atrocious. So if I tried to handwrite anything, there would be so many places I wouldn't be able to read my own handwriting. So
Well, and I think and part of that is age. I think because I didn't grow up with a computer, I didn't have one until I was in my early teens. We didn't have a computer at home until I was, I think, like my freshman year of high school. Um, I think because of that, I am more natural at handwriting. Like I didn't learn how to write on a keyboard. I learned how to write with pen and paper as like for entire stories. So that is what is just most natural to me. And so I think age does have something to do with that. I could be wrong. There could be people that prefer to type that are older, but
yeah,
I think for the most part that age has something to do with that.
that could be. I don't know. Well, I also know that when I was writing when I was younger, like I have, notebooks full of, stories and stuff. So it does have something to do with when I had more frequent access to my computer. Like in college, if I was writing stories, I don't think I did any of them by hand. But when I was still in high school, I did them all by hand. So
Well, and I think that's where you have discussed the zero draft and I have then adopted the phrase, because most of my handwritten is just like a basic outline of what I want to happen. And that comes from writing fan fiction, because when you wrote fan fiction, you did like a chapter at a time, and you would try, like everybody would try to get a chapter up like once a week. And so like during the week at school in classes when I wasn't paying attention to school, because like it was the easiest thing to pass ever.
yes, yeah,
School was not hard. So like I would sit in class and I would handwrite out like what I wanted to put in my chapter for that week. And I would go through and I would write in like what plot points and everything that I wanted to go in. And every once in a while, like you would get an actual phrase of dialogue.
yeah,
For the most part, it was just like plot points. And then I would go home and I would have everything ready and I would sit on the computer and I would type it in and then I would have it.
yeah.
So I still do that, but now I do it for the whole story instead of one chapter at a time.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, you're bringing me back. I remember in class because I didn't want anyone to know that I wrote, and I would put on my piece of paper like a fake essay or like whatever we actually had to do for class and like my notes, but then I would just write out my story. But like I made the first part really big and then just, oh, so funny.
I'm just, my handwriting is so much quicker than my typing, and
Mm-hmm.
and I just my brain to paper flow is a lot quicker than
Better.
brain to computer.
Yeah, that's fair too. I do notice, yeah, and my typing is like the fastest mode I can get something up to. So
I think it's just whatever feels natural to you, and I think if one thing doesn't work, try the other.
yeah,
It doesn't hurt to try.
that's what I do see some teen handwriting. We got some, oh yeah, people who keep a journal. I will say the journals I've kept over the years, I've never done like entries into like Google Docs or anything. I still have a handwritten journal. I never got quite into, I was thinking of like Zanga. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That's the little bit of like typing journaling I did.
Christopher asked, how do you deal with major changes while you're writing a first draft? I'm in my first draft, but during writing things change and now the plot is hard to follow. That's what the green consistency pen is for. I am currently, it's not a first draft, but it is like an 87th draft. But I chose to do some major plot changes. So knowing that I am planning that major plot change, I'm just having to go through the whole thing over again and rework around it to make the plot change make sense for the story that's there.
Yeah. When I write zero drafts, I have this happen a lot where I realize I have like an epiphany of something that maybe should have happened before. And it's like a major plot point. So like I can't go on knowing this thing and then pretend that the rest of the story I don't know it. So what I do is I like highlight in my text like, okay, moving forward, pretend X is true. So then the rest of the draft, I move forward as if I've already written the major plot change and then just keep moving. That's why I call mine a 0 draft, because this will happen 2 or 3 times within the draft. And it does make revising like a little bit of a pain, but as long as you note to yourself, I feel like you'll be able to keep track of it better.
Yeah, and depending on how you're writing, whether you do, like, I'm a highlighter like Kate. I highlight things and leave myself notes. But I also leave myself notes in the margins, like of Google Docs, where you can leave comments. I do that as well. So I like those because you can check them off that they're done. Like once you've completed figuring it out.
Yeah.
Oh. Hero Song says, should I continue writing for the next 4 days and finish out the month, or should I validate my win and go with that? Kate validated and she's still writing, so.
Yeah, that's what I validated as soon as I crossed the threshold and was like, I'm a winner. But I'm still working on the story, so.
Now she's helping the rest of our cabin so our cabin can win, but.
Trying to help out our stats.
We've got some slackers in our cabin.
Not just slackers, but some of y'all set the goal so high.
Yeah, that's the thing, is they're not slackers, just their goal is crazy high, which is good. You should set your sights high. I went low.
I went low also, but you know what? I'm gonna say I'm glad I went low. So
I didn't want to bring the cabin down like I normally do. So I was like, I'm going attainable instead of like what I really want to be my goal. I'm going to like go what I know I'm going to get so that I'm not dragging the cabin down.
So. Let's see. I also brainstorm by hand. That's what I have this entire, like, it was supposed to be a bullet journal. Part of it still is, but a lot of it is just like story notes. I see people talking about that.
A lot of people are still talking about like the handwriting and how that how it hurts them. I have arthritis really bad in this hand.
Oh
really
no!
bad, and I'm right-handed, and it's my right hand. And when I used to work in the restaurant industry, especially if I was carrying heavy things, like my hands would get stuck, and I'd have to have like one of the guys in the kitchen pull my fingers out because they would just be completely cramped closed. Oh my gosh! But writing doesn't seem to bother it. So I can't make them straight. That's like flexing.
Oh my gosh. I just can't imagine that pain of mine do the like.
Yeah, I can flex this one, but this one not so much. Like
oh my gosh.
It's fine.
No.
It's fine.
Oh no, it skipped. Okay.
No, I'm trying to find everything. Ooh, I lost something.
Same. Oh, yeah, and some people are talking about how they jot notes down in their phone.
I am the worst. Like, I can't text in a phone. I can't do it. Nope. I'm out. Avalon, I am a huge proponent of OneNote. It's my favorite. I love OneNote. I'm a OneNote ride or die.
That said, I am seeing some other people saying, who was it? Let me make sure it skipped. But someone, Avalon also, all of their notes were lost. And so now they back everything up. I think I have once or twice per Camp Nano session that I remember to back everything up, because that is just, I feel like there are a few things more disheartening than losing work forever. I mean, you didn't really lose the work because now you know where you want to go with it and you can always revise it, but make sure y'all back up your novels.
Back everything up. Unless you're using Google Docs, and then it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
OneNote is a computer program. It is a Microsoft program, I believe. That is essentially, you can make folders and documents, and it's just like a way to organize notes, like in binders, and If you use Scrivener, you probably are doing something similar to that in your Scrivener if you're doing planning in Scrivener. I don't love Scrivener, but that's because I use a PC versus a Mac. If I used a Mac, I would love Scrivener, but it's not as fun on a PC. So OneNote is like my hero, and it also, you can save things into the cloud and all of that fun stuff. So
yeah,
you can open it on different computers. It's fun. I like it. I have a folder for all of my stories on there, plus one that's got just like different ideas for future stories. And I mean, just looking at the story I'm working on right now, I have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different sections. And then like each section has between like 40 and 50 pages in it. And I was excessive with note taking. That's why it took 12 years, because it was excessive.
that's gotta be so like hard to corral, I feel like.
Some days I struggle. Like, I'm like, I know I have this piece of information somewhere, but where is it?
Yeah.
I know myself made a note of this so that I would have it for later, but
Where?
where? So some days it's a struggle, but for the most part, it's helpful.
That's what I see. All one asks are all of your friends writers. And I think that's part of why a lot of us turned to AuthorTube, was because we didn't have writing friends near us and we wanted to talk about writing, but we had no one to talk about it with. So,
Yep. My friends are not writers. Only one of my friends is a reader. Um, one of my friends from high school is a writer, but she does not write anymore. She also lives kind of far away now, but she is like someone that I would brainstorm with, and like, her story ideas were so amazing, and she was a really good writer. I don't know why she gave it up, but she did, and I'm very sad about it because she has some really crazy story ideas that I think would be amazing in the market today,
yeah.
but she just decided not to write them. So
No. I have it where I moved someplace where I don't have a lot of writing friends in the area. But I do feel like a lot of my friends, I met them through some sort of writing activity. So we're all varying degrees of serious about writing. Lisabella says, I have a writing friend, but she's always busy. Yeah, well, welcome to AuthorTube.
that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
We're also always busy, but we're busy talking to you.
Yes. Well, do you want to do another writing sprint?
Sure.
How much time you want this time?
I don't know, friends, how long of a sprint do you want this time? 15, 20, 6 hours? What are you looking for? $15, 6 hours,
Yeah.
15, 10 to 15. Looks like 15's winning.
All right. Everyone ready? Jessica ready?
Ready.
Oh, I didn't hit it. There we go. Start. Oh,
Timer.
hmm.
How did everybody do? I finished revising chapter 1.
Yay! That's exciting. Was it as fun as you remembered?
Well, considering as we discussed yesterday that like I think I'm making it worse for introducing characters rather than better.
Mm.
Yeah. It's still going in the wrong direction, but I think at this point, like, I need beta readers for that and then move on.
Yeah.
So it's staying this way until it sees some betas, and then we'll go from there.
That's always the hardest part, is figuring out there's just some stuff that you can't figure out on your own. You have to have people read it.
I have so much like world building and magical system stuff that I need to figure out that I just can't even be bothered with fixing the introducing characters part. Someone else's problem.
Yeah, I see 488, 454, 333, 401, 405. Oh my gosh. 401, 336, 350. Avalon finished one short story and started another. That's so exciting. And then Diane got an important part of world building completed. Yes.
That's always key.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm falling apart. like I'm all being all wonky. We have been on for about an hour and 20 minutes. That was our second sprint.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly the last sprint. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, we're playing it by ear.
We're playing it by ear. We hadn't really planned sprints today. We planned on chatting, but you know, everybody wanted sprints. We could use some, so why not? Did you have some bullet points that you wanted to talk about, or did we already discuss those?
You know, we already discussed most of them. We talked about the live write-ins and the writing sprints. So when it comes to pushing past the end and finishing strong, a lot of it is just like reminding myself why I wanted to do this in the first place, but also finding other people who are still in it with me. So if you're not doing live writing sprints like this, I know Twitter is also a great place to do some writing sprints.
Yes. If you I can't keep up with those. I'm really bad at keeping up with the ones on Twitter.
Yeah.
But yeah. So if you can keep up with the Twitter ones, then definitely I highly recommend them. There are a lot more of those than there are of these because people are more comfortable with just, not staring at their face while they write.
Yes, that's very true.
Me personally, at this point, I'm like, whatever. It's fine.
So over it. I don't know, for all the other author tubers out there, I really like when I set up the camera to do a time lapse, and that's really when I feel the pressure, because I'm like, if I sit here and do nothing for 15 minutes, like this will have been the biggest waste of whatever. Like that pressure of the camera makes me write more.
The last time I did a time lapse on the computer or on the camera rather, I fell asleep.
So maybe it doesn't work for everyone.
I was reading, though I wasn't writing, but still, like, I was sitting on the couch reading for a readathon. I set it up for when I was doing a readathon, and I 100% fell asleep.
That's so funny, though.
It's like within the first minute and a half.
Did you put it in your vlog? I have it.
No, I didn't. I cut it out of the vlog because I'm like, why?
Yeah, I can't. That's so funny. You were real tired.
I was sleepy at 4 in the afternoon.
We're talking about sleep, and now I'm making me yawn.
I know. It's been a really, like, dreary day in Ohio. So, sleep.
Sleep. Yes.
Happy birthday, Amy. It's Amy's birthday.
Happy birthday.
Don't forget your birthday. That's a bad plan. Grape Fry is saying I'm having to do more world building than I initially anticipated. I feel you on that. That's why it took me 12 years. Yeah.
That's what I always feel like my world building. I always feel like it's lacking compared to stories I read, but I think it's, at what point is it writing style, like that I write with less words, or is it like, oh no, you need to get with the genre, you know what I mean? So
yeah, I think it definitely, you need to write on par for your genre, which is hard because I'm writing a high fantasy, and I
That
finished
is, yeah.
I finished Aragon today. Reading Aragon today. Obviously, I wasn't writing Aragon because it's already written. That's kind of weird. But like, it's 760 some odd pages, and it did. I don't know. There's just like pages and pages and pages of description.
Yeah.
And like, I know that that's what high fantasy is. And I'm like, I'm just not ready for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's even young adult high fantasy, which typically is a lot less descriptive.
Yeah.
But not that one. So
Yep.
I liked it, but I can't write like that. So,
Yeah.
I mean, if you want like a 20-page inside the character's head panicking about everything going on in the world, I can do that. But nobody wants to read that. Oh, the chat took another jump.
Yeah. They want you to Grapefry wants you to include a blooper reel and have that in it. You falling asleep in the thing. I agree.
I'm pretty sure that clip has been deleted forever.
That's what Inu Cog Kick says. I make faces when I write. That's why I wouldn't want to have the camera on me while I write. I cannot tell you how often when I'm trying to figure out like a facial expression for a character, I try and mimic it so that I like get it right. And so if you see me making weird faces, that's what I'm doing. I'm like, how do I want this smirk to look exactly? You know? So.
Well, and like me, when we were doing the write-ins, the past couple that we've done, because there were so many of us, I felt okay with like muting myself and listening to music, because I prefer to listen to music while I revise. And so like I'm sitting here in my chair like singing while I'm writing and revising, and
yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, if you can't be afraid of how the world sees you at that point. Like, you just have to do it.
That's very true.
I mean, my picture was tiny because I was muted. I didn't like come up giant.
Yeah.
But I still was down here, and you could still see me dancing. So if you want to see me dance in my seat, doing a chair dance of sorts, then go back and watch the last couple of lives. Chair dancing.
I see Christopher says, I do the world building on the fly, but I seem to be alone in that. You know what, Christopher? I do too, especially with the zero drafts and stuff. I feel like I layer in world building each new draft. I don't ever sit out and like plot the world exactly. But also maybe I should. Maybe it could help.
When I started this story, the first couple of years was just world building. Like, I didn't even have characters.
Yeah.
Oh. Which is why it took so long, because originally I was just like, once a month or so, I'd sit down and make like a couple of pages of notes and then walk away. And then come back a month later and write a couple of pages of notes and walk away. And did world building. And guess what I'm doing today? World building! Still doing it. So. Oh, so many comments. Whew. Don't mind me, I'm just over here yawning.
Same. Ed says, I'm having a problem with repeating words too many times in a chapter. It's tough. You know what? That's what editing is for. Don't even worry about that right now. I do that too, though. I have specific words, like just and back. Like when I'm trying to get people to move, I just say they turned back around or they did something. So I feel you.
I say honestly a lot. Honestly, like, make it stop.
You know, I also realize I do that in videos, but what happens is that rather than having one word, it's like a phrase that I will say 2 or 3 times a video that I never say otherwise. And so when I'm editing it, it's like that's all I can hear is that phrase.
Like, oh gosh, what was the one from today's video?
Transparently was
transparency.
Yeah. Yep.
I say so much.
Same. I've tried to start cutting those out because I'm like, if I hear myself say so again, but it's, your thought processes are jumbled and you move from one thing, you feel like you need a so.
So, or a lot of times I'll go, and then pause, and then finish the sentence, and I'm like, why would you do that to yourself?
Editing it back is awful. It makes
Now I have to edit that.
I really like the
I really enjoy when they do this. I'm like, no, stop it. Why would you do this to yourself? Editing me hates filming me.
Yeah.
They are not friends. Grape Fry wants to know, how do you guys find beta readers and critique partners? I don't have any, so don't ask me. I don't know.
You can find them. I've seen a lot of people find them via AuthorTube. I always recommend the Camp NaNoWriMo or the NaNoWriMo, the website, because they have like novel swap and exchanges, and they have it specific to the genre. So there's tons of online resources. If you are on other writing forums, those are good places to find them.
And if you have like an AuthorTube channel, you can always ask and let people know what you're looking for and what you're willing to offer. Jessie Elliott posted one this week where she's looking for a new critique partner, not to get rid of her old ones, but to add one into the collection. The only beta reader that I've really had is Jenna Streety. I've had like friends read it, but Jenna has read the first chapter of the story that I'm working on right now and left me like 18 pages of comments. So hence
That's fun to go through.
So, hence the major rewrite, because when you've got like 18 pages of comments for one chapter, it's excessive.
Oh my gosh. Well, if you need another two eyes, I could offer 2 eyes.
I only want the one eye, though. You have to read it with one eye closed. Let me see.
I'm happy to read your first chapter.
That's what I want. I want you to read it with one eye.
One eye.
After I get this rewrite done, I will take you up on that offer.
Perfect.
And then I'm gonna go through beta reader process. I'm gonna look for some beta readers. So sometime later this year. Woo! That was my goal for this year, was to get it out to beta readers. I wanted to do it sooner than what I did, but I can live with that.
Yeah, you're still on the right track. Making progress.
It can't hurt.
Yeah.
Get there eventually.
Oh, knowledge is power. Yeah, I said that a lot too.
Knowledge is power.
Oh my gosh. It's so true though, you guys. I learned something new and I was so excited to share.
I'm glad you did though, because I agree. I feel like some people are not as transparent as, it's not that they're not transparent, it's that they are lying about their transparency.
That's what, yeah.
It's like that thing where elves can't lie, but they can tell you the truth in a manner that works around it so that it's kind of a lie.
Yeah.
They're not giving you the whole truth.
Yes. And as people aspiring to do the thing, you need the whole truth so that you know what to plan for and what to expect and all this stuff. So,
well, and I feel like you have to, if you are choosing to do AuthorTube and you think that it's going to be a way to get you massive following and money, and it's not going to happen. Like, very rarely, I think, does anybody's channel just grow immensely out of the blue, except for Kate, who is like the freak of this situation.
That's what the algorithm, that's what I'm saying. But that's why I was like trying to make the point in the video, because I was like, this was a freak accident fluke, but also I had other stuff that you've been working on. And it's the same for books too. You never know what book's going to take off. And then those people who are now fans of your writing then go back and find your other stuff. Like it's.
Well, it's like the B.E. Schwab's The Near Witch, which was her first book that was like a total flop. Mm-hmm. And everything else has become so popular that they have re-released it. And it's been on the New York Times bestseller list longer than any of her other books.
That's crazy. Well, and that's what I just did that. I tried writing like Nora Roberts thing, and Nora Roberts, a lot of people thought she wrote more than she did or quicker than she did, even though it's 4 books a year, that's still quick. But because she was getting, once she grew in popularity to a certain point, they started pulling her old books or her old ideas or things she'd written that they didn't want to publish before and throwing them out there too because they knew it was now going to work. So she had a lot more out at one time just because the old stuff was happening now.
Yeah. I mean, when you've had a career that's that long, though, I mean, you just continue to throw things in. So
yeah.
Any advice on starting a AuthorTube channel concerning content? My channel is more BookTube than AuthorTube, and that's because I feel weird about giving writing advice when I am not published. That's just me.
Yeah, I think you'll notice that I also don't give a whole lot of advice unless it's like how to finish your first draft or how to write a bunch of stories at once, because literally that's what I do. So it's not like and that loops back in with that transparency thing. Like I would hate people to try and take my advice when I don't have the experience to give the advice. So, but there's tons of AuthorTube content you can do that's not advice stuff. So I would focus on that unless you have like a niche knowledge of something.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of people really just like to watch like writing vlogs about like your process. People are very interested in processes, like how you write, how you do like a first draft, how you revise. So any of that you're doing, always vlog that type of stuff because people love it.
Yeah. And also do the AuthorTube newbie tag because I find people that way still.
Yes, the AuthorTube newbie tag is a good way to find out if someone is somebody that you're going to want to watch and mesh well with. So watch that and then do that. Yeah, watch it.
That's what Christopher makes a good point. I haven't been published either, but I make a series on writing transgender characters since, I'm sort of an expert on that. If you're an expert on anything, I think that's a great marriage of stuff, especially if you write in the topic or field or like life experience that you have that knowledge on. Yes. And it's also so helpful for other people to learn that may not know that kind of stuff. So
for those of us who have no knowledge, we need those of you who have knowledge.
Teach us things, please.
Right. I think I don't feel like you have to be the same content all the time. I feel like you are able to be yourself, but you may not get as many subs that way.
Yeah.
That's up to you.
Well, and also do content that makes you happy because I cannot stress how much time you end up spending on these videos that you don't realize it's going to take that long. So if you don't like it, like just don't do it. Do whatever's going to make you happy.
The amount of time that it takes to film and edit and promote and it's all totally worth it, and I wouldn't do it if I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
But you have to enjoy what you are filming and editing, especially what you're filming, because you're going to have to edit it for hours. So
yeah.
I hope you like it.
I've talked with Brooke about this, but I've had times where I had planned to film a video, but like I was just not up to wanting to film that day. And I think you got to be honest with yourself about like what level of hyped up enough you are to actually film, if that's what that requires. Since again, you are gonna have to spend so much time editing it back later. You're gonna have to like it the first time you film it or else.
I have filmed before and just like hated the editing of it so much that I just scrapped the entire thing and went and filmed it again.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's not the content. Sometimes it's just like the lighting was weird or you were weird that day. Some days you get hyper Jessica and some days you get like Jessica who just stares ahead like a zombie. And sometimes, you just gotta refilm it and try again.
Yes, that's very true.
I'm trying to see if there are any more questions.
Yeah.
feel like it moves so quickly and then it like dies down and then I'm like, wait, but is it stopped or is it still going? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Oh, so is life, I suppose.
Yeah. I do want to hop back to Diane said, I beta read, but I asked the author what feedback they're looking for before I start. And I think that's really good. And if the writer's not telling you what they want, like you should ask. I feel like everyone needs to be clear on what's expected from one another.
You know, I watched a video the other day by Sarah Cannon, but I think her channel that I seen it on was her Heart Breathing's channel. She has two channels. She has like one where she does like most of her planning stuff and one where she does her writing stuff. Yeah. I haven't read any of her books, so like I don't know about that aspect of it, but I watch her mainly. I started watching her for planning things because I am obsessed with planning.
Yeah.
Not so much the doing part. But she did a video about why she uses Google Docs for beta reading. It was very interesting because she uses it and shares it with multiple people. Mm-hmm. And the way that they share it, like they're able to see each other's comments. So like if you see something like the person who read it before you could comment on it and you could agree with that and say, yes, I agree with that. Or I see it this way. And so you can get not only your beta readers' comments, but their comments to each other on how they all agree or disagree with each other.
Oh.
Their conversation. It was very interesting. I really like that idea. So you should look out for that.
Yeah, I feel like that is a helpful way to do it. Interesting.
What are some strategies to help push through writer's block or motivation issues during the first draft? I believe it was Kate in the Nora Roberts video who discussed that if you wait for a muse to come, you're going to be waiting forever. Mm-hmm. Sometimes the only way to push through writer's block is to put your butt in the chair and to write.
Yeah. And also, I've learned to have like an honest chat with myself on if it's just me being, and I'm not, calling you out for this, but like for me, if I'm being lazy or if there's truly something in the story that's either A, like not working, or B, I'm not ready to write it, in which case then I have to change stories, but at least I can have that conversation. So sometimes it's a legitimate, like, maybe you shouldn't be writing this, but other times it's like, you should really just sit your butt in the chair and push through it. So
you have to be honest with yourself about what kind of an issue you're actually having. Mm-hmm. And sometimes if you're having writer's block about a specific plot point versus the entire story, you can always skip that plot point and go and write to what you know. And if you know where you want to end up at, it can help you figure out how to get there. And sometimes that is the problem. So you can always try skipping where you're at and moving forward.
Yeah, you can work backwards. And also it's good to just know and feel that, again, being honest with yourself. But if it is a specific plot point, that can tell you that, hey, maybe that plot point isn't right. Also, like, you never know what's really bubbling under the surface. But
not writing related, but Grapefry says, I want to start a booktube channel, but I haven't read any of the books that are popular mainstream now, and I don't think I can afford to buy all of those books to read. First off, Book Outlet is your best friend. FYI, if you don't know about Book Outlet, we'll get you in trouble, but you can buy really cheap books there that are mainstream popular books. But also, BookTube is so huge, and there are so many different types of readers, and you will find an audience. Mm-hmm. You will find people that enjoy the books that you enjoy. So no matter what you're reading, there will be people there to see it. A lot of people are kind of tired of all of the mainstream YA booktubers, so they are looking for people who focus on other type of books. So there is definitely an audience out there. So don't feel like you can't start a booktube channel because of there not being an audience for it, because there definitely is.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen a lot more like nonfiction people and a lot of adult fiction people like making a resurgence. And also I've seen way more library hauls recently. Yeah. So if you can't, afford the books, and I don't buy that many books anymore either, the library.
Last year I bought 209 books. This year, I think right, not to call anybody out who's buying way too many books, because I fell into that trap. I fell into that. I have a booktube channel, so I have to buy all the books, and so I bought like 209 books last year. But as we sit at the end of April, I've bought like 10 books this year.
Look
because
at
I
you.
am trying really hard to behave myself and not fall into the trap. So if you feel like you can not fall into the trap of having all of the books, then you should definitely try it. What you're saying makes me think that posting videos is like writing a book. It kind of is. There's a lot of, you have to film it and then you have to edit it, and the editing process can be fun or
And
not.
you gotta enjoy it enough to stick with it the whole way through.
How long are chapters usually? That depends on the writer. Some writers write very short chapters that are like a page. I think Becca's chapters are all consistently 3,000 words throughout all of her books.
Yeah, she does minus riser. Risers are super long. But that's because she took them a day at a time. Um, I'll also say one time I said in a vlog that I had a really long chapter because it was like 4,000 words, and someone in the comments was like, 4,000 words is a long chapter. So like it totally depends on your writing style or the book too. So
There are some writers who choose to make each chapter the exact number of words. I have seen that. And as a reader, you don't really notice it, but it's kind of like an interesting thought. I write my chapters as long as they need to be.
Yeah.
Whatever the scene gets me.
Yeah.
Do you screen beta readers, like what they usually enjoy? Absolutely. You have to screen your beta readers. You have to make sure that they're going to be a good fit for you. A lot of people recommend sending out like just the first chapter and getting their feedback on that and seeing if it's something that will match up with what you're looking for. Definitely screen beta readers.
Mm-hmm. Well, as we're coming up on the 2-hour mark, do you want to do another screen, or do you think we're conversations going?
I don't know that I could do another one at this point.
Okay, then that answers that easily.
My brain is so muddled.
Yeah, I'm good with that too then. Let's see. Oh, I see. Avalon Watching says I end up writing one long story and break it into chapters later. I can't figure out how everyone figures out the split before it's written. You know, I have something similar-ish where I have scenes that I put within a chapter and I think they're supposed to be there, but inevitably I end up moving scenes around as I go back to revise stuff. So I don't know that I really have it figured out.
I think for me, it goes back to writing fan fiction because you would, like I said, you would like write it a chapter at a time. So
That's true.
essentially, like whatever the plot point was for that chapter, you would write it. And some weeks the chapter would be very short, and some weeks the chapter would be really long.
Mm-hmm.
I said before, like I struggle so much getting out like 50,000 words. So I looked back before I deleted all of my fan fiction accounts. I like copy pasted everything.
Okay.
I have it all, but like I deleted the house.
Such a.
I kept everything for nostalgia purposes, but I deleted the accounts.
Yeah.
But I think the one story had like 250,000 words, and I wrote it in 5 months.
Oh my
I'm like,
god.
I can't do that now.
Yeah.
Why can I do it then? I can't do it
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
I think it's because then I didn't really care what people thought. And I honestly think that's a large part of it. Like, I think it's because I just didn't care.
Yeah.
I was writing it for me. Like, fan fiction was for me. I mean, I was posting it on the internet, so obviously I wanted people to read it. But it was for my enjoyment because that was like the writing process was enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm like so paranoid.
Really? I guess that's because like you're going into it with the intention of sharing this at some point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With people who actually know me, like my face and my name, and not just my username on fanfiction.net.
Username. Yeah.
I did decide that for Camp Nano in July, I'm going to take one of my story ideas that I have, like a basic idea of a story, and I'm going to write like it's fan fiction.
Ooh.
That's going to be my experiment that month. It's going to be fan fiction experiment, right? Like I used to write the fan fiction. So it'll be interesting.
I was going to say, so what all does that entail? Like having a chapter a week that you finish, or writing without concern, or pantsing it kind of, or
like I did, like writing a chapter at a time, and it may not be like I'm not planning on doing a whole plot. So very much pantsing, which is not what I do now at all.
Yeah.
And like handwriting a chapter and then typing the chapter out, and then handwriting a chapter and then like going chapter by chapter.
Yeah. Oh, that'll be fun. That'll be cool.
Blastman, my username on all of my social media is JLW Reads and or JLW Writes. But my name is Jessica Williamson. It is on all of any of my profiles that you look at. It's all on there. It's just a really long name, so you can't really make a username out of it. It's like 16 letters, and they don't allow you to have usernames that long. So my website has my name on it. All of my banners on my YouTube and Twitter and everything all have my full name on it. So it's all there for you to see. I'm not hiding, unlike Kate, who hides.
I do hide.
Kate's a hider, but I like the purpose. If I could go back in time.
Would you?
I would. But I think a lot of it is because there is one Jessica Williamson who is a famous photographer. There is one who's like a famous artist. There is one who writes something different. I can't remember if it's like articles or what the case. Like, it's for such a weird name, it's super popular with people who are like famous in artistic, creative type jobs. So yeah, I definitely would have done something different, but it's fun. If I choose to write in multiple genres, I may use a pen name for that, but for now, it's just me. I'm also willing to change my name should, like if I have an agent and a publishing house feels like it wouldn't work, which is not such a big deal now because there are so many people with non-white person names, because white person names are so boring, so vanilla because we're white. But there are so many different names out there now that are so popular. But it used to be that they wanted everybody to have like a normal name that people could easily read and identify and connect to. But if somebody wanted me to change my name to publish, I would totally do it. I don't even care. You want me to change my name to Jane Smith so I can publish? Let's do this. I'm fine with that. Somebody said, I missed it. I lost it. There was a question, but I've lost it.
That's what I'm trying to go back through and see.
Never understood why readers get so hung up on authors mixing genres, like they can't wrap their brains around the concept of nuance. I think the only time, I guess I shouldn't say genres, I should say age brackets. If I change age brackets, should I ever delve into the world of writing sex scenes, I would want to have a different name, because you don't want your younger readers to see your name and buy your book because they are like, oh, I like that author, and then them get into something that they're not ready for. So for that reason, I would definitely use a pen name, because I feel like, especially because I have so many nieces and nephews that are in like the mid-grade range and will be moving into the YA range, and I don't want them to ever fall into that trap and be presented with things that they're not ready for. Not necessarily genre, but age bracket wise.
Mm-hmm.
Whew. Something weird just happened again. I don't know why, but my computer is being super weird today.
Oh man. Well, for the last 8 minutes we have planned, does anyone want to share their tips for like finishing strong on Camp NaNoWriMo? Because I could still use some tips, to be honest.
Even though she's finished, she could use some tips.
Well, yeah, help me power through today. I've struggled so much to hit my word count the past few days that you'd think I would take my own advice.
Well, I agree. I think that getting together with people is part of the deal of helping you push through.
Mm-hmm.
Reminding yourself why you set the goal in the first place, reminding yourself why you write in the first place. Um, telling people to leave you the heck alone.
Yes.
Give me my space.
Yeah. That is a good one, especially I know when like Nano in November comes around and things are maybe a little bit more crazy than they are during camp. A lot of people have to tell their family or loved ones that they might be living with, like, hey, I'm doing this thing and it's going to take up some time. Please let me have it.
It's like my mom, who now, when she comes in the room, like opens the door so slightly and she's like, are you on the internet with your friends or can I
Yeah.
come in? She's so used to it now that she's like, am I allowed to come in or are you on the internet with your friends? Because I don't want to be on the internet.
Yeah. That's so
You're
cute.
good. You're good. Or, yeah, can you hear us talking? Like,
I have the problem that I film, and so I'll be talking, but like to myself, and they won't know if I'm talking with someone or just to the camera. So.
that's true too. Power naps and meditation. I'm all about power naps.
I'm all
Except,
about the power. I'm all about the nap.
right, I'm like, except my power nap becomes like a 6-hour nap, and then I wake up and I'm like, I don't want to do anything. I just want to sleep more.
Yeah. I in my head, I think I'd like meditation, but I've never given it long enough a go to like get into it regularly.
What is College Buddies and why are we reviewing it?
Hero song, I want a nap right now. Same.
Oh, what is your thoughts on College Buddies by Nicholas Sequeira? Is that there's too many vowels in there, I can't pronounce that. I don't know what that is.
I don't either. I haven't heard of it.
Going to the internet. I don't know what that is. I'll have to look it up because I don't know what that is. I'm out of the loop. It apparently is some kind of a comic. I don't know. It popped up. I've tabbed it. I will look at it later.
Huh.
That's another thing that I do. I tisk before I talk, and I have to cut that out all the time. Super fun.
Oh, same. Yeah, I make a little sound.
I can see it every time on like the wavelength thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, yep, I can cut that out. I already know what that is.
Oh, that's what I also really liked on your last, on the 12-hour write-a-thon vlog. You had that fun little thing that showed what time it was throughout the day that just popped up. It was
Yeah,
like a little,
the thing.
yeah. Was
I've
that,
been trying to use that in vlogging. It's a Mogger motion graphic template
ooh.
that I learned how to use in Premiere Pro because
Huh,
I know how to search things.
fancy.
I know how to go onto YouTube and type in how do you get things at the bottom of your screen, and then you learn what they are called, and then you can figure out how to make them.
Yeah. Oh, man, I wish there was something like that for iMovie. I'll have to see.
I also got a ooh, I went way out of focus there. I got something to make like an opener, but I haven't done it yet because like the editing is daunting.
Yeah.
But I will have to do that at some point, and then I'll probably have you watch it before I decide if I like it or not.
Ooh, yeah. I'm down for that. Oh, man. Okay. Everything is going so slowly.
Well, everyone, I think that's going to be about it for today. Again, Kate and I do these chats monthly. We don't typically do writing sprints during the chat, but since we kind of felt like it was a getting through to Camp Nano, that we might as well do a couple of short sprints in there to get us all moving in the right direction. I hope everyone is going to have a great end of the month and that everyone's going to hit all of their goals, including me. Does anybody have anything else before we sign off for the day?
Fun and productive. Yay!
Fun and productive is always good. I feel like there's a bunch of people in here that are just having like a weird random conversation that I know nothing about.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Christopher, it was nice meeting you guys.
Yes, thanks for everybody who is new and that we haven't seen before. Thank you for joining us and for having a fun time. And the cat's here.
Yay!
She was like, oh no, you're going to leave and I haven't been on the screen yet? What is this? How dare you? All one ask what is camp? It's Camp NaNoWriMo. It is where you set a goal and write things during the month. Look up campnanorimo.org. It'll give you all of the information that you need. This one's almost over, but there will be another one in July.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know the cat she always has to be in the video. She heard me say that we were getting ready to leave, and she was like, oh no, please don't leave without me. See, there she is.
Oh,
Hi, Merlin. You can
look
go play
at
now.
you. Gosh. So cute.
So cute. Okay. I think that was everything. I think that's everybody. Looks like everybody's having a good time. Everybody's making their way forward. So thank you all for joining us. If you have any ideas about what you would like us to chat about next month, you can always leave those either in the comment section below or find either Kate or I on Twitter or Instagram or wherever. All of Kate's links are in the description box below, as well as mine. So if you want to find us on any other platforms, we are all down there. And we can be friends.
Yeah.
Yes. Anything else, Kate?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, we will see you all next time then.
Yay.
Bye.
Bye.